Windows upon windows of stuff open. Okay, here we go. You are listening to the Overwatch Rundown, a weekly podcast covering the latest in the esports scene of competitive Overwatch. Today is Tuesday, October 3rd. We are covering the Overwatch Premier Series Grand Finals, the Overwatch Pacific Championship Season 2 regular season action, as well as OGN Apex Season 4 Group Stage 2. Jax, no contenders this week. We have no contenders to talk about other than what's going to be happening with the contenders playoffs.
Pretty quiet week in the professional Overwatch scene, Lepelos. I guess you could say not much going on, except there was a lot going on in other parts of the world that wasn't NA or EU, and in some cases still in EU.
Well, I mean, don't worry. Drama takes over Reddit whenever there's a downtime from games, doesn't it? And this week, I think we had more drama posts than usual. Is that right? I don't know. I feel like the drama is pretty constant on there.
When the Reddit detectives get bored, they go out and find things to talk about. Just whether it's NRG scrims against Envision, or the latest drama coming out of Korea because of someone's girlfriend, and who knows what else, man. But
I mean, the manager's adding to it too, though. They're talking about having difficulty finding it difficult to even set up tryouts for players and all this other nonsense about it being a group of friends trying to get their other friends into the Overwatch League at this point.
I mean, that was an interesting thread on Reddit with people talking about it, and a lot of people are, I don't know if it's salt from people who aren't in on the first season, and how much of it is actually real, where a lot of these teams, they're going to get halfway through the season and realize we didn't do things right, and it's too late to change anything for season one. And you're just looking at that $20 million investment plus however much they're paying their staff, and the room and board and all that other stuff. And I don't know, man. It just feels like it's so far away. Like I keep the way
it doesn't feel like it's well organized at this point in time. Is what I get the sense of when you're hearing these teams and like you're so uncertain with their tryouts right now, and nothing seems very well organized.
It's supposed to start in December, I think, and
it's not too far away.
So basically, you can say we're 2 months away from the preseason, I guess, of the Overwatch League Campos, and I have to ask you, what do we really know about the Overwatch League? Well, don't even know the rosters for most. The only roster we know of is NRG, and they're adding in someone else. There's rumors of Immortals trying out, a couple people, but here, like for me in Los Angeles, okay, I know I've got Immortals, but then Stan Kroenke, owner of the Rams, he bought an Overwatch League slot. I don't know anything about that team, Lepelos.
Yeah,
I know absolutely nothing.
Not even like the general manager in those teams. Like we know general manager for a couple of other teams, Jackson. Those ones are also questionable picks. I mean, at least in I think my view and maybe your view too. But this goes back to the idea of it being sort of like a inner circle of friends being like, well, this person's a good person, or this person's vocal, so he must be knowledgeable, right? And I'm concerned. I'm concerned for the quality of the league if this is how it's going to play out. We're sort of in a wait and see stage at this point. That's the most we can do. Where we're not in a wait and see stage is where it comes to a couple of events this week. As I said, nothing going on in Contenders other than to talk about what's happening in the future. But what we can talk about is the Overwatch Premier Series wrapping up their grand finals with...
we just had the grand finals, Lepelos.
Well, that was the grand finals of Summer Series 2017. Now we're moving to the grand finals, which is a playoff of best of, 8 teams?
Yeah.
A best of eight grand finals.
They took a point system with teams scoring points based on their performances from the spring and summer series, and the top 8 teams who had the most points after those two were invited to the grand finals, which was then, Lepelos, the top 4 from the grand finals will represent China, APAC, not Apex, APAC, the tournament that covers multiple regions.
Yeah, so big importance.
But there's also money on online, Lepelos. This was a $100,000 tournament.
Yeah, I mean, you want to.
I think people forgot about, but yeah.
You want to win it all, but first and foremost, if you want to secure a place at APAC, you had to get through the quarterfinals. And Jax, big notable loss here again for LGD in the quarterfinals here, losing to Miracle Team 1,
I
3-1 in the quarterfinals.
If I remember correctly, we both took LGD Gaming. We said, okay, last week a fluke, right? They're gonna bounce back. They're gonna make the adjustments that they need to make in order to keep going. Because like one of the things right now, in Overwatch Lepelos is where's your next paycheck gonna come from? You know, we already see it we saw it in North America and EU where teams, right, if they're not in contenders, they kind of fell apart. Like take Cloud9, a major team. They didn't qualify for contenders in North America. That team is done basically.
Yeah, and their
And
players
so
still up in the air because of that too. So.
yeah, and so you look at OGN, right? Take Combox. Combox was doing well. They failed to qualify for the next stage of OGN this season because they lost. And
we hear
now
this
that
week
team is done Lepelos.
yeah, Combox
And
is
so
now out. Like they disbanded.
I look at LGD and I'm saying, okay, OW, the Premier Series is looking like it's still going to keep going because the only team that they're going to lose is Team CC, and pretty good chance the current Team CC is not the team that's going to represent China, or sorry, Shanghai Dragons, I should say. We have to start using their branding now, Lepelos.
Yeah, we do.
In the Overwatch League, and so if I'm LGD, you just have to have that thought in your mind of if we lose, where's our next paycheck going to come from? Because we went out kind of early in the summer season. Now we've just gone out in the first round of the, we didn't even like Leopards. All they had to win this one thing to continue on and get into APAC, where you continue to show yourself, right?
Jax, they're definitely in trouble. There's no doubt about that. I mean, other teams going out in the first round though, like oh my god, not a big surprise when they lost 3-0 to Miraculous Youngster. Lucky Future losing to Vici Gaming, not a big surprise there. Close series in the other remaining one, 1-2-4-6, able to get the 3-2 over FTD Club.
1-2-4 levels. You can't see. Here's the deal. 1-2-4-6. It kind of like defines middling for us when it comes to China. Season 1 champion, season 2, and then now you come to the playoffs again. Or now you come into the playoffs. You started in the playoffs here, and it's like, are they gonna go on another hot streak run? And it's just.
Yeah, you don't know. You say that, Jack,
because you don't know what you're gonna get.
You say that semifinals 1-2-4-6 able to 3-0 Vici Gaming to make it into the grand finals against Miraculous Youngster 3-1 over Miracle Team 1.
I almost feel like I'm overusing our middling term, but I've said it before. On any given day, Vici Gaming can beat any team. I feel even MY in China, and then because you look at how well they played in the playoffs going through the summer series, and now you come here, you're saying, okay, well, let's see what they got. And so I'm looking at this 3-0, and I'm saying to myself, Lepelos, did they not try because they've already qualified to have making it to the semis since the top 4 teams go on through? But then I said, wait a minute, there's money on the line here. So of course they're going to keep trying because first place gets 60,000, second place 30,000, and then third and fourth I think is 15. I think, and actually only third is 15. Sorry, and I don't know, man.
They do secure third place at least over Miracle Team 1. That sets up a grand final between Miraculous Youngsters and 1-2-4-6 meanwhile, which is a best of 7 series. Jax, we both watched this one.
Yes.
Some interesting stuff happening in this grand finals. I'm not sure how much I want to talk about it other than to say a lot of different picks from different heroes that we saw.
I think just to start with, just to go through the scorelines, and then let's just talk about it. So we start out on Volskaya Industries Lepelos with 1-2-4-6 taking it 2-0 over Miraculous Youngsters. So again, we talk about 1-2-4-6 going on a streak, and they continue, from their 3 over Vici, taking a map off MY. MY, I think, had only dropped 1 map previously.
MY didn't even get a tick on A point on Volskaya here. I mean, whatever. We can talk about that at length, but we're not going to right now. Li Zhang Towers ends up going 2-1 to Miraculous Youngsters after they dropped the first map, so managed to come back and secure that pretty strongly. Iconvald goes the way of Miraculous Youngsters, who
3-1. Dorado goes MY for another 3-1, putting them on match point with 3-1 lead, going into Hanamura, which then went to 1-2-4-6. I think it's the first time. I guess this is the first time MY has lost 2 games in a series, but that's probably Yeah, that's right. First time that they've lost 2 games in the series.
Best of
And
7 though, so you
yeah,
take that what
from there,
you
Lepelos, we go to Nepal. But not
only
really.
only
Yeah.
not Nepal because there's a rule where you can't have 2 of the same map type, and round 7 is set to have a King of the Hill on
Yeah.
Helios, I believe it was.
Add that.
So
That I
like
mean,
that's a set map.
it's an interesting rule where you can't play more than 2 game modes in a best of 7 series.
Well,
I
thank
mean,
goodness. But
I kind of get it because they want to highlight all that the game has to offer. They don't want to have 6 payloads.
that I get,
Um,
Jax. What I don't get is how they set a map for map 7 and had this rule as part of it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That I do not understand.
I don't know why. I mean, obviously the administrator of the tournament levels, he forgot because they played half of Nepal before he realized, and they switched over to Kings Row, which MY took 5-4 to win the tournament.
Yeah.
But again, it's just
administrative errors, Jax, at like very high levels of play. This is not the type of organization you want to see. That aside, that Kings Row, Jax, I messaged you about this one. This one was a very interesting Kings Row. I think it really highlights sort of the overall discussion we could have about.
I mean, actually, let's instead of focusing on this on this series, I just want to this map in particular, and we've seen it in other series with teams that may or not have been trolling, but these teams weren't trolling here.
Well, I think we
about
do.
The health of the meta, Lepelos.
I mean, the health of the meta looks good when you have a lot of these different characters. And just to run down some of the compositions we saw Widowmakers coming out of attack. We saw Doomfist out on King's Row. We saw Roadhog. We saw Junkrat. We saw Pharah. We saw May. We saw Reaper. We saw Tracer. Obviously,
the combinations like 1-2-4-6 on attack ran Widow Junkrat. And when people think about that, running a Widow Junkrat, and then they also ran Widow Bastion for the defense with a Junkrat switching from Widow Junkrat to Junkrat Roadhog on the attack, and then Junkrat McCree. So, I mean, obviously there's a lot of Junkrat here, but I mean, look at all these other heroes that we're seeing.
A Reaper May Rhine Zarya. We had a Pharah Mercy with a Junkrat Winston Roadhog combination on attack versus that Reaper May Rhine Zarya combo in overtime. We had a Hanzo Widowmaker attack as well.
Like Lippos, we had Hanzo Widowmaker attack for MY on their second attack into 1-2-4-6's Roadhog May on defense.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't work, the defense, but the double snipers was just I mean, the pick potential, it's very high.
Yeah.
And
they played around it. Yeah, they did play around it, and it is interesting to see because you don't know how to read the plays that are going to come out necessarily. Like, it's not like watching 3-1-2 back in the day when it was like, okay, they've got a Hanzo on King's Row. Is he going to get a pick? Not yet. Oh, there's the pick. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's definitely more exciting to watch this, but what's looming over us, Jax, is this darkness. I shouldn't say darkness because supposedly she's bringing the light, but it is this Mercy change that you guys all know on the competitive game mode is absolutely seeing highest pick rates that we've ever seen out of any character coming through for the updated
Here's
Mercy.
the deal, Levels. If the enemy team takes a Mercy on the current live patch, you must then pull Mercy. There's no way around it.
I mean, competitive, I think you linked one post about people saying, like, yeah, we're not practicing the current Mercy because they're surely going to change it.
That was the pros talking on one of the mini podcasts or vodcasts that go out there. It's going to be interesting, and we're going to actually take a look at that in a series coming up.
Yeah.
But
down
at least
South
here,
America,
Lepelos, we had... I mean, it's just... I enjoyed this series between MY and 1-2-4-6 because... I got to see a lot of things I normally don't, and at times it gets boring watching Dive got boring to me because the same 2-2-2 all the time. And here there was 2-2-2, there was 3-1-2, but it was the variations of 2-2-2. And I just want to say, even if you don't want to watch the entire 6-game series between MY and 1-2-4-6, watch King's Row. Just watch the last map. It went 5-4, and again, we saw, I think, almost everything but Symmetra, and thankfully no Torque Drone. But congrats to MY Lepelos. They take first place seeding. I don't really know what that means for a pack. And from here, I guess we'll talk about it more next week. But MY going into the Seoul Cup, the OGN Super Match with C9 Kongdu, Lunatic High, and I believe Lucky Future. Why Lucky Future? I don't know. Actually, I do know why, because LGD Lepelos, who was originally invited, backed out.
I guess LGD saying that's not their next paycheck, Jax.
There was a comment from Jason Kaplan on the stream where he said, perhaps LGD might stop being a team.
Yeah. Who
But
knows?
the Reddit detectives went and found out that Undead, one of the DPS players for LGD, he was injured and he left and went to the hospital immediately after the series was over that they lost. So, I don't want to speculate too much, but hopefully LGD doesn't go away, Leplos. I mean, 4 out of the 6 members of LGD represent Team China, so we'll see them at the very least at the
In a
World
couple
Cup.
weeks,
But
which is not too far away, actually.
yeah, but we need these individual regions to stay strong, and
China
if LGD goes away.
Yeah, I mean, China is still a fairly strong region relative to a few others that we'll talk about at length.
Lepelos, you say that,
But
and then what happens when MY is picked up by Team CC because they're the only good team in China, and then they're gone? What is China left with?
I mean, there's still at least teams like Vici Gaming 1246, LGD, like they're competing at higher levels. Like you tell me the South American, Middle East, African regions have that level of competition, and
Yeah.
then we get to be questioning about that. And even OPC, if you take take a look at the OPC region, which we're going to get into, Jax.
Lepelos, you might as well. Take a look. Let's just jump into
Let's
it.
go
right
ahead
now.
and get into it right now. Let's go ahead and discuss this final week of regular season action in the OPC. Actually, a lot of big games. The same thing that happened in the first quote unquote first round robin set when they had the super week back then of all of these major games. The same thing this week, and this week we had some deciding matches in order to determine whether teams were going to get into playoffs or were they going to get shut out. And first thing, Jax, all I'm going to say is any match that you're playing against Ardian, you're going to lose. And again, this week, the big notable change though, Ardian dropping a map to Blank Esports somehow. So Blank at least able to do that.
Yeah, let's see. If we start out on day one, which I think was Friday or Thursday night for us, we had Ardian 3, AHQ 0. Big week for AHQ uploads if they want to qualify. They're on the bubble. They need as many wins as they can get, as many maps as they can get in case of any tiebreakers that pop up. And starting out with a 3-0 loss to Ardian didn't do them any favors. What did do them favors was the second game of the first day uploads, Flash Wolves versus Blank Esports. Flash Wolves 3, Blank 0. Flash Wolves winning a map against a competent competitor. They finally took King of the Hill. They took Ilios 2-1 over Blank, which is what I had my eye on. From there, it was 1-0 Kings Row, and then a 2-2 tie on Volskaya Industries, which led to a Lijiang best of 1 win for Flash Wolves. So Flash Wolves proving that they can win on Koth Lepelos going into the playoffs. The other is this Machi versus Labyrinth Supreme.
Battle
no
of the
surprise
bottom.
there, Lepelos. Well, I should say a bit of a surprise.
It's a disappointment for Labyrinth Supreme that they're not even able to take one.
They tried Lepelos. Temple of Anubis was a 3-3 draw. They then went to best of 1 on Ilios, which Machi took, and Labyrinth ends the season. Is this their last game?
No, they had one more in the week, but what we will say, I will say it because we won't really need to cover it. They only got one map the whole season, and they lose every single game. They're 0-14, 1-42 map scoreline. That's horrible.
That is.
I'm sorry, the Japanese teams have not been performing very well in the OPC.
It's the same. It was the same thing at APAC last year. The Japanese teams were a disappointment. OPC season 1 Lepelos, Japanese teams, one of which was Labyrinth Supreme, disappointment. Now more disappointment here. At the end of season 2. They go down into relegation along with Machi Esports, so perhaps they'll fight their way back up.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll see.
Second day of play here, Ardiant over Blank. That's the 3-1 scoreline that we had. Flash Wolves 3 over Mega Thunder. Important game here, AHQ versus Hong Kong Attitude. And Jax, close one. AHQ starting this off well, 2-1 Lijiang, 3-2 Nimbani. But then they drop 2 maps in a row. Jax, you cannot feel good dropping 2-1 Volskaya Industries and 3-0 on Dorado.
I was worried for AHQ. I actually was this when I watched live.
This,
I
yeah,
watched part of it live, then I fell asleep, and I watched the end of it when I woke up the next day because these start at like 2 o'clock in the morning for me. Um, I really felt that AHQ was giving it up after Dorado Lepelos. I thought, so many times you're looking at a team and you're left wondering, are they mentally broken? There were this was a must win for them just to have any chance of qualifying for the playoffs here. Same for HK, who they wanted to win just
yeah.
to solidify themselves, and they could not. AHQ fought back really well on Hollywood to take the series 3-2, but the week wasn't over for them Lepelos. They
Yeah.
still had another really big game.
There was
Whereas
actually two.
Hong Kong Attitude Lepelos,
Yeah, the Hong Kong Attitude had an important game against Machi, which should be sort of a slam dunk. But here they are, Jax. They win 3-2 over Machi Esports, and even that was not certain.
I watched this.
Yeah, they almost
watched this.
gave this up entirely. Like 2-0,
This-
Lijiang Towers from Machi to start. 2-1, Kings Row, second map for Machi Esports. Temple of
Anubis, Lepelos, so close, and the tiebreaker so close. And I said to myself watching this, as soon as Machi lost the tiebreaker on Ilios, Hong Kong is going to win the series 3-2. And Hong Kong did win the series 3-2, but Machi tried so hard.
To play spoiler there.
Lepelos, that would have been a huge spoiler. AHQ would have felt so much better going to their game against Blank after this had HKA lost Lepelos. And HKA sweating bullets. I mean, yes, they have air conditioning in that arena, but damn.
I mean, okay, well, let's talk about the next match then before I talk about the standings. And it was Blank versus AHQ, and Blank, they ramped up. They managed to take a map off of Ardiant.
Yeah.
They're showing that they're not. You don't know what Blank you're gonna get here. AHQ, you're under the gun here. Both teams here, I think, need a win to go through.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is a win here gets you through. Right, barely. And, well, let's just run down the scorelines. Blank started off 2-0 Ilios, 3-2 Kings Row, 1-0 Hanamura for HQ. Get held on the first portion of Route 66, giving Blank a 1-0 victory for Route 66, taking the 3-1 victory over HQ and securing themselves 4th spot. Jax, so many things could have happened here. If Hong Kong Attitude lost 3-0 to Machi Esports, which was really close, they could have been out and HQ could have been through in 4th.
I mean,
Blank could have been through.
I mean, looking at Lepelos, had they lost, see here, this is where the tiebreakers would have gotten interesting. Had Hong Kong Attitude lost, they would have been 7-7, and had AHQ still lost to Blank as they did, they would have been 7-7. Both teams though would have been, I think, on 28 and 27 score lines, and it's just they're fortunate. Lepelos, they're lucky, and see for Hong Kong Attitude, they lucked out even more in that Blank kept. See, people, when it comes to dropping maps, this is why every map is important. Even if you win or lose a series, you want to take as many maps as you can. Hong Kong Attitude finished in 3rd place, 8-6 with a 29 and 25 map line. Blank Esports 8-6, 27 and 23 map line. But you know what that means? Blank is 4th, and you know who the 4th place teams plays first, Lepelos? They play the number 1 team. And who's the number 1 team right now in OPC? Ardiant. You don't want to face them first in the playoffs.
Yeah, you want to try and get second by not facing Ardiant. Right?
Lepelos.
So Blank is pretty much certain to go out in the first round here in the playoffs, but.
To finish up the regular season, we had Mega Thunder 3-0 over Libelin Supreme. I really wanted Libelin to at least take a map here. They got crushed. Absolutely. Listen, Libelin is 8th. Mega Thunder was 6th, and 2-0, 2-1, 1-0. Just please, Libelin, fix it. But the last game of the week, which I watched, Lepelos, Ardiant versus Flash Wolves, in what could very well be a preview of the finals. Ardiant 2-0 on Lijiang, 3-2 Kings Row, 2-1 Temple of Anubis, 3-0 sweep for Ardiant over Flash Wolves. And I'm telling you right now, if Flash Wolves does not find a way to deal with Erster from Ardiant, they will lose Lepelos. Yeah. This guy on Genji or Doomfist or whatever he wants to play, he's crushing Flash Wolves. Bacon Jack Lepelos, he's still on vacation here in Los Angeles from when they were doing their Overwatch World Cup. because he's not really showing up. And Flash Wolves, as a team, Lepelos, I don't see how they beat Ardian unless this was, they figure it doesn't matter. Last game of the season, we've already qualified. We've already got second place locked up. Let's not show any new strats. Let's just, whatever, and then we'll give it to them in the playoffs. Is that what you think happened?
I do not see any way that Flash Wolves or any of these teams are going to gear up well enough for the playoffs to deal with that Ardian team. That Ardian team looking really great. Jax, I'm bringing this back to the discussion where we ended off the Premier Series with talking about what happens when you remove the top team from each of these regions. What happens when if you removed Ardiant, right? Like
Maybe
another
if you take
Korean
Ardian
team.
the way we end up with season 1 of OPC, Flash Wolves, Hong Kong Attitude, Blank, and AHQ. Believe it or not, Ardian is just. I hope the playoffs show differently, but Ardian is just a step above. And if you take them out, then the rest of OPC, the top 4, is rather competitive, and you end up with a more interesting playoff. But as it is right now, Lepelos, they finished after 14 games. Ardian was 42-2.
So
that's all you have to say.
My next question then goes back to the Chinese scene. The My Youngster team, do you think they're as dominant in that scene as Ardiant is dominant here in the OPC?
Yes. They play. Yeah, I do. And see, this is my problem. Right now, I was just saying to myself as I was going through my own notes before this series, before we started tonight, I said I want to see Ardiant, I want to see MY, I want to see whoever wins OGN season 4. I want to see the winners of NA and EU Contenders Lepelos. I want those teams to be at APAC in this grand tournament of champions.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna get that.
No, we're not.
And I'm just saying to myself, what are you doing? Like, what is the point? What is the point of this? Like, so we go into Contenders, which, next week we're gonna end up with winners from EU and NA. They're both gonna be at the same LAN. We're not gonna see them play.
Yeah, it's definitely a disappointment, like a lack of competition between the top teams right now. Jax, speaking of OGN, it should be. I agree with you. There should be like these series, like all these Contenders leagues, and there should be a pinnacle where all these top teams from each of these regions face each other. That would be amazing.
As much as I like the Lepelos, the only confirmed team out of the West I think we've had so far is Envision.
They clearly got drafted on a hot pick because they're a popular name, probably when they were contacting people.
Numlock is gone, Lepelos. Numlock on Twitter today or yesterday with the little owl picture symbolizing Overwatch League. He's out. They're bringing in a new main tank. I think what his name changed. I think that's who they picked up. I'm not sure. I'd have to check.
Good luck. Good luck trying to get that. We'll see what comes of that tournament. But Jax, we have to move on to discuss the OGN, which you brought up there too. Only one game to talk about this week, so we can talk a little bit about the league structuring. This past week only saw NC Foxes and LW Red face off for the deciding match to go on and who gets knocked out. And Jax, NC Foxes again.
I think this is another one we both picked, LW Red. Now see, Lepelos, I hear sirens, man. Hopefully everything is okay there.
I do have sirens around. I have no idea. It sounds like it's in the alleyway. I have no idea what's going on.
The alleyway. Lepelos, where exactly do you stay? But let's not go into that. What I do want to go into right quick is the interesting piece of news came out on Reddit. I tell you, sometimes these Reddit detectives, they come up with the good stuff, Lepelos.
Do you think it's good, or is it just more drama?
Come to find out, LW, the LuxuryWatch organization, which, if you've been following, scumbags over there. Sorry, I guess I should be more impartial. Poorly managed organization. And come to find out, Lepelos, LW Red lost their coaches. When the team of LW Blue was signed by the New York Overwatch League slot, suddenly their coaches went away. So here we are going into the middle of the season and towards the playoffs, and they don't have any coaches anymore. So, it did kind of explain the sudden, maybe not sudden, but the switch in LW Red from, being pretty good to struggling in their first game against NC Foxes, which they lost 3-2, and then coming back, beating Combox 3-2, but it's Combox. And so now we end up here in this knockout game for Group A, Lepelos, and run it down.
Here we go. NC Foxes starting off well, 2-1 Elios, 2-1 Hollywood Jacks for NC Foxes there. Long one on Lunar Colony, where LW Red able to take that one 4-3, but NC Foxes bring it right back for a 3-1 or 3-2 Dorado, winning the series 3-1. Jax, they secure themselves another spot. LW Red, do you think they're going to be a team? We've already heard Combox is done. Jax, I forgot to mention Orca Rocks also disbanded. So RIP, another endangered animal from...
That blows. I saw Runner from Runaway posting, please sign Runaway for Overwatch League. He's trying to get his team out.
I mean, he's being a great owner. I mean, come on.
He
wants he probably
gone.
gets a buyout. Whatever. No, I'm not going to joke about
gone.
that. But
C9 Kongdu gone. LW Blue gone. Rocks gone. But did Meta Athena? I think they packed up shop as well, didn't they?
I think Meta Athena might still be around. They have hopes that they'll be middling team next season. But Jax, this is not looking good for the OGN
You're
season.
left with AF Blue Lepelos.
You think
Ardian gonna carry OGN?
Well, I don't think Ardian can come back and play in the upper league.
Arhan, AF Blue, and Arhan. That's the only ones left, Lepelos.
That's what I'm saying. But hey, JC Busan, it might be their season for them, Jax. I'm not sure. OGN looking sort of perilously on the precipice of a number of teams exiting the Overwatch scene in their tournament.
As far as
really
the series go, some interesting picks here when you go back and look at the history. So on September 19th, when these two teams fought in the first Group A match that they had, NC Foxes on the second map beat LW Red 1-0 on Hollywood. They were full held. And then tonight, Leplos, during this series here, the most recent one, they lost Elio. So then they got to pick. And LW Red says, let's go to Hollywood. And the casters pointed out, and then I'm saying to myself, this is oddly reminiscent of Cloud9 EU Leplos and their watch point debacles that they have. They were full held a week ago on Hollywood by this team, and now you want to go back there again in map 2 of a knockout game?
Yeah, I agree with you. That's bad overall strategy.
They stopped. NC Fox went on the attack first. They stopped them before second, and I'm saying to myself, okay, maybe they figured it out, and then they go on the attack and they don't even meet the distance that they stopped. They didn't even catch second uploads.
That's definitely disappointing for sure from the side of LW Red. I
don't understand these teams, right? It doesn't make any sense for teams to do this.
Well, if you're on the side of LW Red in general right now, a team player on that team, you probably are already feeling pretty in the dumps about your sister team being picked up. You're not picked up. Your coaching staff is gone. Probably the support network of that team, that actual team, is gone. They're probably just getting paid to have their number or name up there, and they probably know that team is disbanding. I would not be surprised if LW Red in a week or two is going to be a disbanded team from, or at least the players will be no longer under the name LuxuryWatch Red.
I mean, it will be interesting. I do want to point out Horizon Lunar Colony went in LW Red's favor on map 3, and then map 4 Dorado the thing that bothers me is that NC Foxes actually won Dorado. So the NC Foxes lost the third map, Horizon Lunar Colony, which means it's their pick, and they said, okay, let's take them to Dorado. This is the problem that I have with Leplos. As the casters pointed out, LW Red this season 3-0 on Dorado, undefeated, including beating NC Foxes 2 weeks ago, 2-1 on this map.
In their previous
I just
strategy-wise,
know the logic
I agree with
behind this, Leplos.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: is it logic, or is it you wanting to prove that the previous loss, that didn't matter? We're here now.
There does seem to be a sense of pride, like even stronger in the Korean scene about proving yourself, right? Like we've seen this when teams pick these completely imbalanced playoff groups.
Of course, these were Western teams, previously. But you just have to go back to season 1 Rogue Envy playoffs where
they both like every Korean team wanted to go and play against the top teams, right? Like back then. Okay, well I'm just saying that's probably part of the reason why NC Foxes went there. They did win it though, so I guess their pride
it was close.
Was proven. But Jax, the problem with pride is not when you're able to be proudful of win your pride back. It's the fact that you can get burned deeply by risks like that, needless risks.
Lebelos,
And I agree.
they were fortunate. Twitch chat was very harsh on Eskino, the Tracer player for NC Foxes, but to capture first point where they were struggling, he got a huge pulse bomb onto Weekend. Is that his name from LW? Weekend, whatever. Sorry, what is that guy's name? Weekend, I think is his name. Yeah, Weekend. He's the Genji player. He had Dragon Blade. You know how impactful Dragon Blade can be. He gets pulse bombed and dies. From there, they snowball first point. In the final push to it, they start off Eskimo 2K pulse bomb, gets the momentum that they need going into overtime. Because see, this wasn't a stomp. For me, when you make this pick where you beat us on this map previously, but now we're back, you need to beat the crap out of them, and they barely did it, Lebelos. If his pulse bomb doesn't get to people going into overtime, they lose. That is a little too high risk for me, for you to have and gone and made this pick. But Eskino got the 2 picks. From there, random Diva self-destruct gets another. Bit of a brawl back and forth as defenses go, and they cap it out. But going forward, if I'm NC Foxes, I wouldn't take such chances like this. Fortunately for them, Lepelos, they're on the easier side of the bracket
Absolutely.
going into the knockout playoffs, and we'll see. The next week.
We only have one game, which is actually in just over 2 days.
Why is this taking so long?
We only had the one game this past week. They love to stretch it out in OGN. Maybe this is why teams are getting a little thin.
Okay, wait a minute, Lepelos. Here's the deal. We get in 2 days. We get GC Busan versus Lunatic High.
Yes.
And then next Monday night for us, Tuesday morning in Korea. Oh wait, sorry. On the 10th.
Yeah, we actually do get the Kongdu versus the winner of GC Busan versus Lunatic High.
What a semifinal that could be, man.
If
Lunatic High wins, Lepelos, we could. C9 Kongdu versus Lunatic High semifinals.
Yeah, future Overwatch League matchup, basically.
Yeah.
Definitely going to be exciting if that is the case. Definitely be exciting if GC Busan though beats Lunatic High. I'm always out for a good upset. We'll see what Lunatic High actually brings this time around. I think they will take this a little bit more seriously and with hopefully more thought on their coaching side this week. So we'll keep our eye out. There's actually 2 games up and coming this week. Only the 1 game this past week, Jax, which has been a bit slow for the OGN, but that covers the Korean scene for us. We have a lot of other games across the world, Jax. Let's go ahead and get into South America, where there is a number of tournaments and series.
This one here, I had taken it off the schedule, the South American Overwatch Circuit Season 2 Division 1, not because the title was so long, but it was just didn't fit.
Didn't help, though. The title being that long didn't help. No, okay, but
they did get to the playoffs, the Lepelos.
Finally getting to
South America dominated by Brazil Gaming House. Recently, Brazil Gaming House lost 2 players and a coach, and so they've been, filling in those spots.
With former Keep gaming members, I think.
Yeah, primarily. And so, we were looking forward to seeing what Brazil Gaming House would do. Also in the playoffs was Team Karma. And for those who are unaware, Team Karma are essentially Team Argentina from the World Cup with my boy Klaus, the Tracer player, representing them for them. Although there's another DPS that stepped up that I've got my eye on going forward. So I guess we might as well jump into that. Semifinals, though, Lepelos, Brazil Gaming House 3, Backstab 0, Karma 3, Uprising Esports 0, sets up a Brazil Gaming House Karma Finals.
Yeah, and this one was a close one, Jax. It was a good battle. I watched the series last week between these 2 teams. First thing of note that I want to mention is the fact that this was played on the current patch, which means new Mercy, Jax, something we hadn't been seeing in pro play.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that very much. The other thing that stood out to me, Lepelos, starting out on King's Row, the first map, was Honorado of Brazil Gaming House and his unstoppable Zarya on defense. Zarya has I can't say always. Zarya was once really strong. She got, a few balance tweaks that backed her out of the meta, and then she got a few buffs that put her back in the meta, and fantastic Zarya play for Brazil Gaming House here. Honorado stepping in onto that flex tank position that I think Muriz used to hold. So it's looking like, starting out here, that perhaps it's going to work out for them.
Yeah, definitely. Just doing the rundown of the scores here, is this in order of, one sec, let me double check I'm looking at the right one. The South American Overwatch circuit. This one ended up
yeah,
in a 3-2 score line in the finals. In Jax, it was Karma actually taking the win.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Level. We started out on Kings Row, went to Brazil Gaming House 2-1. I was just gonna go map by map, but we can do it like this.
Yeah, I mean,
Tower,
yeah.
2-0 Karma, Dorado 3-2. Dorado 3-2 Brazil Gaming House, Numbani 3-2 Karma, and then Horizon Lunar Colony 2-1 Karma.
It's just in my notes. The maps are out of order compared to what's listed here, which I'm not sure if my notes are wrong or something. So that was throwing me for a little bit. But yeah, Karma taking it in the end. The only other moment I really wanted to talk about, Jax, was something you linked me, because I already had a note about this prior to when you linked me earlier, and that's the Mercy play coming out of Docs for Karma right at the end to win the match on Lunar Colony. Really showing the effectiveness there of the Mercy ult in its current form, and sort of why you basically have to run Mercy these days in general. It's just, if you're playing on the current patch, that power to continually raise people that have instantly, or like that have fallen, instantly get them back up into the battle with full health, incredibly strong.
So a little context for people who may not have watched the series. On Horizon Lunar Colony, deciding map, Brazil Gaming House went on the attack first. They got the first point. They were unable to fully cap second. So that meant Karma, all they had to do basically cap second and win the game. Karma had, I think, 6 minutes and 40 seconds, incredibly, large amount of time.
Yeah.
And they didn't even really need it. They went in, and normally, you look at the ultimates and you're saying, okay, they're going to snowball, or they get a pick, and from off that one pick, they're going to snowball. Here, they're actually the ones to get picked. Leviathan on the Pharah, he gets taken down, but Mercy flies in. Oh, revive. From there, their Winston goes down. Mercy pops ult, revives him up. 10 seconds later, Leviathan has died again. Oh, wait. DDX revives him again for the second time. So that's revive. I mean, and for me, Lepelos, so far, the meta throughout the entirety of professional Overwatch, except for the previous, I should say, the previous Mercy phase, is that first pick. You get that first pick, the fight will usually go in your favor unless you've got an ultimate or some wizardry that comes out from one of your players. Now, Lepelos, you get the first pick. If that first pick isn't Mercy, then you've got a bit of a problem, because the revive, she gets ult, she starts zooming around everywhere, revive again, and then, oh wait, she revived a third time. So you've got 3 revives inside of 20 seconds. Meanwhile, Lepelos, the other players, for, in this instance, Karma, Klaus is still going off crazy, getting kills. The D.Va throws out a random self-destruct bomb that gets a kill. And the defense, which started out the fight, with the pick, you're saying, okay, they're gonna prevent the snowball with that pick. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
And you ended up with what? They had 6 minutes, I think, left when they finally capped it out.
Yeah, it was a ridiculously quick time. And to also be clear, throughout the entire series, Mercy was run almost all the time, and almost always a Pharah as well. And to that point, Brazil Gaming House really, I think Muriz was their former.
He was the Pharah. They missed him a lot. Yeah,
they definitely missed him a lot here when it was Liko instead filling that role against Leviathan. And Leviathan looked like he was a lot stronger there on the Pharah.
Lepelos,
between the combination of Leviathan and Docs here on the Mercy, Karma just looks like they had the better pharmacy pair, and that looks like what's going to be the deciding factor when it comes to future. I mean, if this patch stays the way it is for future pro matches, this is what's largely going to decide matches, I think.
I mean, Lepelos, I'm just going to jump regions quickly. I'm looking ahead to NA Contenders. I'm looking at Team Envy. Just signed Seagull. What's Seagull good at, Lepelos? He's a great Pharah. And they had Chips. Chips, who along with Adam from Cloud9, back in the old Mercy meta days, were the best on Mercy. I'm looking at Envy now, and I'm saying, well, Envy, I guess, we'll get into it in our preview, but it's just, is she too good, Lepelos, or is she finally balanced and now
Oh,
people just have to adjust to it?
I mean, you're throwing me a easy ball here. She is way overpowered with her current. Like the fact that you can instantly res somebody on a cooldown and bring them up into battle with full health and no issues. Way too good. The pick rates are reflecting that because you cannot. It's the same thing. Same reason why Lucio is so strong, right? That speed boost is so unique and so useful all the time, right? Like
it was
same thing with the res. Like if you have a res up every 20 seconds, that's a huge counter to and somebody else getting picked, right? Like it's a huge counter to any mistake in a way that pure healing is usually done, right? Like pure healing is there to make up for your damage that you've taken in poke, right? If you happen to die in poke because the enemy team has done well now you have a character that can res them. That's completely broken. So whatever.
I mean,
that's
here,
where we're at.
You would say, well, Brazil Gaming House, they had their own Mercy. It's just, it for me, it's like the timing has to be there. Where in this instance, Karma had everything lined up, and it just worked out. And I'm also looking at it, from a DPS perspective, where like if you're in a groove and you're moving, right, so you kill the Pharah and you're just switching, you're basically duck hunting. You're killing targets as they come up. They killed the Pharah, they killed the Winston. Oh wait, this Pharah's getting revived, but you gotta wait that split second for the damage immunity to go away off of revive. Except you know what happened? She got revived, instantly barrage, and while she died, Lepelos, oh wait, she's back again.
Yeah, exactly, right. So it takes away some of the risk. I'm not sure if I like the res mechanic the way it exists right now. Maybe they'll look at how to change that to make it more balanced, but it's not. Jax, that's not the only thing happening down in South America. There was also the HammerDown Cup, number 1, if you want to call it number 1. And guess who ends up getting to the finals? It is none other than Brazil Gaming House versus Karma again.
I mean, we just had a great series,
the finals.
So I'm fine with that. We just had a great series between them, 3-2. Looks like Brazil Gaming House finally has some competition. Lepelos, first time they've lost in South America in
the finals
ever,
at least.
Actually.
I'm not sure if they've lost the map. I think they might have.
They might have lost maps,
something.
But I don't think they ever lost the series. But so here in HammerDown, when I see Karma and Brazil Gaming House, I'm saying, okay, we've got a game on our hands.
But Jax, I mean, here we are with a 3-0 scoreline. Doesn't sound good. Especially not good if you're Brazil Gaming House. You dropped that first series. Now, Jax, you're losing 3-0 to Karma in HammerDown here for another online competition. That's a 3-0 against you now. You're getting shut out. Not a good sign.
You say not a good sign when we're hearing reports out of Brazil that Brazil Gaming House is looking to move to North America, Lepelos.
I mean, let's go ahead and talk about another league that down in South America to see how Brazil Gaming House in there. There's Campeonato Brasileiro, where we had, I think, the 6th round of matches this previous week.
Again, 2-0s.
Everything. Yep. Keep 2-0, 6-2-0, WS Esports 2-0, and Brazil Gaming House 2-0 as well. So at least Brazil Gaming House not competitive in this matchup in this series. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. What you were just bringing up here, which is Brazil Gaming House looking for sponsorship in North America, likely. Do you think they're going to find it?
I think when I linked you the article on, was it over.gg or somewhere, I said their biggest chance of this happening was the Overwatch World Cup, where they were showcasing their talent for the first time on an even playing field against other top tier opponents, Lepelos, and they disappointed. Team USA crushed them. Team Taiwan Taipei crushed them. I think they even dropped the map. Who was the 4th team in that group? I don't remember who the 4th team was in that group, although I'm looking it up right now. They underperformed, Lepelos, and now they come back to Brazil, and the players who left, the coach that left, they left because they didn't want to move to North America. They still have ties here in Brazil, and if I'm being honest here, I wouldn't invest, Lepelos.
I wouldn't either. I mean,
this team.
Listen, I don't think they're going to, if they're being realistic to themselves, they're not going to be invested into or purchased into a Overwatch League spot, and their players aren't either. So maybe they're trying to look forward to better competition by trying to get into a future Contenders team, Jax, and that I could see. But even that Contenders League spot right now,
I don't think
I'm not
Lepelos.
sure.
They couldn't win Contenders. Are
I'm
you
not
kidding
saying
me?
I'm not saying winning Contenders. I'm saying compete in. Like, look at Congarno or Renegades. Do you think they could beat Congarno or Renegades?
Um, well, Renegades played pretty well that last week
That's
against
that's one map.
FNRGFE Lepelos, but
You know what I mean though? Like,
yeah, I know.
that's the competition that they're maybe looking to try and get around and look for sponsorship to play in. Maybe that's where they're existing at. Maybe they want to be a middling North American team,
I mean, well, you
which
have to
is
start somewhere. So you get over here
exactly.
where, well, cause see, so while I was very hard on them for what happened at the Overwatch World Cup, you also have to look at the competition that they've been facing.
Yeah, and it's sort of a shame though.
Here in North America, they'd have better scrim partners than I'm
Yes.
assuming what they get in South America, and so
Well, that
consistent scrim partners that challenge them
so
would lead them to improve or utterly collapse. But
so the issue that they're having, I think, probably in South America is that they've also have grown a bad name or bad reputation, which
Okay.
means they probably won't even get the best scrim partners wanting to play them when they have such bad blood between them and I think the Karma team. So
problem right
you
now,
sort of make
Buffalo's,
your
they
own bed
can't
when
beat
you act like
Karma.
that.
If you can't beat Karma, why is someone gonna invest in
Yeah,
you?
exactly.
You have to dominate. If you can't dominate your own region, I'm not gonna fly you out and put you up. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not looking good for them. Jax, let's go ahead and fly out to discuss JCG Masters 2017 Summer Finals.
I
Jax,
forgot.
bit of a break here. Did not watch this one. I'm glad I
forgot.
didn't watch
I
this
did.
one
I forgot.
because let's just set this up. If you remember when we last talked about the JCG Masters, was talking about Rampage Kingdom losing in the winners final to Cyclops Athlete Gaming, being kicked down to the losers final where they won 3-1 to set up the rematch. Jax, this grand finals, let me just do the score
Why are there
rundown.
buys? Never mind. Continue.
Just go through the score rundown here. Cyclops Athlete Gaming 2-1 on Kings Row, 2-1 Nepal, 1-0 Route 66, 1-0 Lunar Colony. Jax, that is a domination right there by Cyclops Athlete Gaming over Rampage Kingdom. This was not a good series to watch, I bet. I didn't see it, but I can't look at those scores and feel like this was going to be a
Looking at
close
it,
match.
Lepelos, the upper bracket finals between these two teams, with Cyclops won 3-1, better than the grand finals. My goodness. In the upper bracket finals, at least, 2-1 Ilios, 4-3 Eichenwald. On Dorado, 2-1 RPG Kingdom. They actually took a map. And
Yep.
then Volskaya 2-1 Cyclops. So
Cyclops Athlete Gaming coming out with the victory. That's good for them. They won in earlier rounds against
yeah.
some notable teams, particularly I'm talking USG Iridata.
Lepelos, you talking about Iridata? What's happening to that team? They go down to the losers bracket. They get a bye in the second round. I don't even know how that happens. But
Yeah.
then they come across Scars in the losers bracket round 3. They lose 2-0.
Yeah.
Lepelos, when I say 2-0, I mean they lost on Nepal 2-0. They lost on Lijiang Tower 2-0.
Now,
What
Jax,
happened to Iridata?
I'm gonna say
literally
I'm not.
now in Japan?
That was what I was gonna say, but my knowledge of the Japanese scene is relatively limited. But
Lepelos, AKTM.
we saw USG
Still,
Iridata play.
AKTM from Team Japan, Lepelos, right? Everybody's favorite. He's still on Iridata.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
I definitely am concerned though by this results.
I should point out the Lepelos that I just looked at it and I'm seeing here Teo and Claire, formerly of Iridata, are now on Cyclops Athlete Gaming.
Well,
So
that's starting to make
Iridata
sense.
lost those two because I was wondering why things weren't looking right, and we starting to see they lost the DPS, they lost the support to the team that won the entire tournament.
Yeah, and well, I guess some players really carry their teams, and you're starting to see which ones are those types of players.
AKTM though, Lepelos, fan favorite after Overwatch World Cup.
Yeah, I mean AKTM did very well at the World Cup, but sometimes you're lifted by your friends. So
okay.
that's
From there,
that.
Lepelos, I think we're still taking another flight to another region. We have the bi-monthly Brawl, Season 1, Division 1. What, really? These names here. Bi-monthly Brawl, Season 1, Division 1. This
Just
is
starting
covering the Australian and New Zealand, if I remember. Yeah, Oceania, I should say. The Oceanic region. This is the second time we had an Oceanic tournament. The last one was the Oceanic Premier Series or Circuit.
I mean, I think they had. Yeah, we didn't cover. Yeah, this one is just starting out though, Jax. We're only 1 week in right now, but we've had 2 games for each team. We have two teams sitting at top here. We have Four Legs and Atletico Camo sitting there at 2-0. Masterminds Blue, Scylla, Darkside, Masterminds GC all sitting 1-1. At the bottom, the Project and Sin Gaming both 0-2 at this point.
We'll keep an eye on it, Lepelos, but a lot of these teams, Four Legs Atletico, we've covered them before.
Yep.
And it was the Overwatch Cyber Gamer Oceanic
That's
Circuit
the one.
Professional that we covered.
Yeah,
these Lepelos.
A couple new teams here. I haven't gone through the team listing to see if some of these teams are former players from some of those older teams, but definitely with like Four Legs Atletico and Masterminds, although there's two Masterminds.
I think the blue is new. The
blue is new.
GC
is the old one. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're the ones that's doing bad. But Scylla, we also covered. So a lot of familiar names here from the Oceanic region.
I wouldn't say bad, Jax. I mean, they're both 1-1. So.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, I was just looking at they're in the orange, but we'll keep an eye on it. This is week 1, and they're going all the way to week 7 in the middle of November. So. Probably won't give it too much full coverage, Lepelos, until
just do
playoffs
more
come
rundowns.
Around,
yeah, like
we'll
this.
Give you a rundown of the score every week.
Speaking of rundown of scores, Jax, let's go ahead and discuss something that happened over in Italy. It looks like there's the Overwatch Premier Circuit you have listed here. Very short result here, where I'm just going to discuss about the Milan's game week. Basically, 4 teams played. Epoch team winning the overall finals against Samsung. Morning Stars.
Morning Stars, yeah.
Yeah, Morning Stars. 3-0 to take the victory there. So.
I'll have to keep an eye on this one because a circuit implies, multiple events, and so this says Milan Games Week. So I'm wondering
there's actually more. Like if you click on, I haven't looked into this too much yet, but they did have a qualifier for the OPC qualifier, and that's being played all the way through, it looks like. But I don't have the dates of when that happened. So that's more detail than we can go into now, but what we can talk about is the Asus, that Republic of Gamers tournament over in the GameXpo season in 2017. This one is a Finnish tournament that's been happening.
Liking these local tournaments that the various regions are having, Lepelos.
Yeah, and here we have some interesting results. Finally, we got a team that's finally got a win that was formerly winless. Unfortunately, that's over their opponent who was also winless. So FC Lati Menace
win at some point, man.
Now 1-4. Aces unfortunately not taking a map. 0-5 right now. Any other surprises this week? Other surprise also dealing with FC Lati Menace. They managed to take a map off of Helsinki Reds here as well in the past week.
They took the first map up. It was King of the Hill, Lijiang Tower, 2-1 to FCL Menace. Again, I mean that's a slight surprise that they took a map, but overall the results are as expected. Wait a minute, this is week 4.
We're partway through week 3, and then Gigante has like all their matches at the end of week 4.
Yeah, because Gigante will be actually Gigante has the Contenders, so they'll do Contenders and then they'll go back home and play out the rest of their schedule. That's why Gigante is has 3 in a row compared to the others who were playing back those 2.
Yeah, definitely some interesting stuff. Or for like a local tournament, that's nice that they schedule around them in order to get them there.
I mean, Lepelos, they're not gonna play it without Gigante because Gigante is a big name carrying the tournament. So
exactly, and that's honestly where it is. But Jax, I think that's basically it for our rundown portion, which means we get to talk a little bit about the Contenders and what's happening there. Before we get into predictions about stuff, Jax, I also wanted to say a couple major roster things that we need to talk about. Okay. First, you've already mentioned Seagull.
Yeah.
Seagull being picked up by Envious. I guess they're allowing him to play in the Contenders League.
So apparently, Lepelos, the paperwork was submitted on time, but it was not publicly listed until yesterday or the day before.
See,
that he was going to be we knew that he had signed for Envy previously, but we did not know that they had made it in before the roster lock deadline.
I mean, you either did or didn't. Like when you have a roster lock, like honestly, if you're an administrator with a roster lock, or you have a score sheet or whatever, like we used to have in hockey, it's like the roster you submit at that time becomes finalized. None of this asshattery of like, oh, by the way, we got our paperwork in at the time. Like, what paperwork do you need to put on the roster lock, Jax? Like, what paperwork?
They submitted his name for the roster. It's just that was not made publicly available until
why
now.
you have the roster? Why wasn't the rosters released as soon as like here is our Excel sheet of rosters for the playoffs or whatever?
Very good question.
Very questionable stuff
of
about administration.
was somewhat upset.
Yeah, I would be too.
This was not made known because they didn't prepare for Seagull
as an addition to the team.
This is not being played on the current live patch.
Oh, yeah, that's going to help them a lot actually, because that is ridiculous if it was going to be.
I mean, even without the current Mercy though, we still have one other
thing to talk about.
So let's just do that, and then we can get into the prediction.
See, this one I can understand, right? Like a roster lock, you're not making the date, right? Here, unfortunately, the forces of politics and bureaucracy unite to prevent Tonic from making his way over to the U.S. to compete for Team 1-2-3. So 1-2-3 down Tonic. That's a big loss for them.
Main tank gone Lepelos, but you know what? And it's just the irony here. You know who replaces him? Nomi of Team NRG. Nomi, who while for Immortals Lepelos missed out on 2 lands because of visa issues. Even though, just Mexico to the United States, not that far, but he couldn't get in. Now he's in, Tonic can't get in, and apparently they asked Reinforce Lepelos if he could step in, but he had a prior engagement, we don't know what, that prevented him from taking the tank slot. So Nomi is going to be their guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, good luck to them with the sub. I know it's going to take a lot of practice to get them up to speed really quickly. Jax, thank goodness as well they're not playing on the current patch, because let's get back to that. Current patch would be a mess for trying to predict what's going to happen in these playoffs.
I feel for the casters. My boy, Golden Boy, he's already struggling at times, Lepelos, and it's just how do you?
Well, listen, Reddit Love has reached out to him recently. He seems to. I mean, they've really banded together. All the fanboyism has reached new heights recently. I'm not going to complain about it. I like to see some positive with the negative, so it is good to see positive stuff, and he has improved. So let's not carry on that conversation.
I pointed out Golden Boy, but ZP and Bryn, who I think are the chemistry fantastic between those two. Thankfully they don't have to deal because. So for the South American tournament, it was in Spanish. So my Spanish is very bad. I couldn't really understand. But trying to cast that Lepelos, where you've got their initiation where the Farah dies, she's revived. Then the Winston dies, he's revived. But then a self-destruct goes off for Karma that kills someone on Brazil Gaming House. And the back and forth. And wait a minute, Farah Barrage, oh wait, she died. Wait, no, Farah's back again. And the casting is going to be hard, man.
It is going to be difficult. You're going to have to focus on the Mercy revives, I think, is the honest truth of it. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens with the casting with it.
Thankfully, we don't have it this week, though. As well.
We don't. We'll see if it comes out or if they're going to fix it before future long-term and major
it if it's broken, Lepelos. They haven't fixed Tracer. She's still brokenly overpowered.
I agreed. Okay, well, that's something different, though. We should talk about Contenders and the lineup here in the predictions that we have going forward.
Okay.
So, you want to start with North American or Europe, Jax?
Let's start with the North Americans, Lepelos. This is America. I'm biased. I'm an American.
All right.
You start with North America first.
Envious versus FNRGFE.
FNRGFE. So the thing here, Lepelos, that I'm taking Envy, but it's something that I've been saying ever since they signed him, and I say to myself, who do you bench to bring in Seagull?
Like whose spot are you gonna fill in?
Lepelos, you're gonna bench Effect, who has done so much, even to in Korea, in OGN Season 3, and now in Contenders. You're gonna bench Taimu, your in-game shot caller, Lepelos, and the best hit scan in the game potentially.
Maybe bringing a Seagull in as a support.
You can bench Harry Hook, Lepelos.
You shift Harry over to tank. No,
What?
I'm just messing with you,
What?
man. I'm just messing. Yeah, I agree with you.
No, but
You
seriously,
do you do.
who do you bring in?
It depends
Like, who do you
on
bench?
you bench effect. I think in certain situations for certain maps.
Lepelos. You're benching effect. Okay, Tracer is universal.
I mean, it depends on what you're going on with your strategy. So, right, like, do you think Seagulls? I mean, obviously, effect really great tracer. If you're going to build tracer only comps, then you'd be moving Taimu out, or you'd be running a 1-3-2 composition. So
132 Lepos has shown a lot of weakness in
it
the
has
current
been.
meta.
So that's the only other option that I can really give you, though. So, you know,
I mean, for me, and likable guy, but Mickey's the one that gets benched.
exactly. I mean, that's if you do a 1-3-2 and you have Seagull there as an option for Farah / performing off tank roles if he needs to. So I don't know if they will do that.
Seagull's
This
Zarya is okay. It's a pretty good Zarya, but
do you think
it's not
Seagull's
great.
Zarya
His
would be better?
I don't even want to go into his diva. But it's interesting. But here, Lepos, I do take Team Envious. I like FNR GFE. I like a number of players, including my boy Cool Matt on FNR GFE. And I will say this: in the regular season, FNR GFE played Envy better than anyone else did.
Yeah.
But Envy, I have not seen anything to make me go against them.
I'm with you on Team Envy here. I do think there is an upset potential that is higher than a lot of other people might suspect.
There is a chance.
There is
a serious
there is a
chance,
reasonable chance, and it depends on how serious Team Envious plays and if momentum is lost early in the series. Jax, let's talk about the second series, FaZe Clan versus Envision Esports.
FaZe.
Very quick there. I'm just as quick as you on FaZe here.
If this was 2-3 weeks ago, I'd have to think about it. But I came into this season saying I had big. Listen, FaZe is always. I mean, FaZe. The roster is fantastic. Leplos. Yes, FaZe and Envision. I'm sorry to say, not looking good the last few weeks. Leplos.
So the only asterisk I have here is if. It's not going to be like one of your asterisks. I'm just going to say FaZe has shown to be very inconsistent, and of course we don't know what Envision
they played
are.
well this season though.
They have, but they've been known to drop the ball when it comes to important matches. They could potentially do that here. Jax, though, we're both picking MV FaZe, so that means we pick a MV versus FaZe final.
Believe it or not, I'm taking Envy because again, Envy has given me no reason not to pick them.
Yeah, exactly.
I have high hopes for FaZe here. FaZe, I think the last time we saw FaZe at a LAN was MLG Vegas, where they took runner-up to Envy, if I'm not mistaken. But now Leplos, yeah.
I agree with you on MV here, although I do not think it's going to be as close as the final. It's like I feel like FNRG FE might push them, but I feel like FaZe might lose their momentum after
FaZe,
Envision.
I go back to King of the Hill on Oasis that they played in their series against Envy, and they should have taken that. It was theirs. It was theirs for the taking.
Yeah,
but
I mean this is FaZe for you. Okay, let's go ahead and talk Europe, Jax. First round to talk about Misfits Cloud9 EU.
Again, no one. Okay, Gamers Origin gave me some reason to doubt Misfits, but Cloud9 does not have a Doomfist like Leaf. They don't have, Istilepos. Until someone in Europe can find a way to stop Logics, Misfits will win.
So I agree with you. I don't think Cloud9 EU has what it takes to shut down Logics here. I think it's going to be a stomp through Misfits to get to the finals.
The first week of Contenders, these two teams played, but that was the Cloud9 EU that Kib and was just a mess. Not that it was all Kib's fault. It wasn't. Oh, we heard nothing of Kib, by the way. I wonder if he went back to cutting sushi.
Who knows?
We just literally have heard nothing, Lepolo, since he was.
Are you trying to say he got a new gig? Okay, talking about Gigante and 123, Jax.
Really? Here, Lepolos, coming into this.
Don't hire me for my segues,
I felt that Gigante had it. Now with Tonic getting left behind because of visa issues, I have to go with Gigante.
I have to go with Gigante. I mean, you can't have faith in a team that is losing a main tank like that. I'm sorry, like 123 has played well, but Gigante was already playing strong, and you lose your main tank. You got to go with Gigante in that
I
situation.
mean, this is sad because that it had the potential to be pretty good. Snillo has been impressing me a lot on the DPS levels,
Yeah.
but Team Gigante, and from there we go to a Misfits Gigante final levels. When these two teams played, again, okay, Gigante has a chance.
They do, but are you picking Gigante to win it though, Jax?
No.
Yeah, me either.
See,
like
here's the thing though. But Lepelos, I look at Gigante, and
like, do we even need to watch? Like, all of our picks are the same, Jax.
if I was a gambling man, see, here's the deal though. I look at this series, Gigante Misfits more so than FaZe Envy. I really think Gigante could do it, but Lynxers Lepelos cannot have a single bad game in the series. Not a single one.
Yeah.
He must play again. Lynxers is the catalyst here. Must play flawless every game.
Yeah, and I honestly don't think, even if that happens, I don't think Gigante has it in them to continually beat Misfits for overall victory. So,
are these all best of 5, or is there a best of 7 in here?
I thought they're all best of 5. I could be wrong.
Okay. Let me go back to the overview, which of course doesn't have it listed. Oh man.
We'll find out. I guess.
Okay, people, if you're putting money on this, listen. Yes, we're taking Misfits. I really feel that Gigante has a chance. Like, I'm giving them 35% chance of winning Lepelos. That might be a little bit higher than you would give them, but I
do think that's a little higher than I would give them. Like, Gigante's chances aren't 0, Jax. I'm just strongly favoring Misfits here for this victory.
See, here's the
like 85% chance for Misfits to walk through in that finals, which means overall chance like maybe 25% chance at best for Gigante to upset.
On any of my picks, but there is a 9% chance that Cloud9 EU beats Misfits. They're so wishy-washy that I have to go with my on any given day statement. Cloud9 could do it. Cloud9 can do it. Will they do it? Probably not. Because they can't deal with Logix. And while I talk about Logix, please, they still have Tavik, who is a fantastic DPS player, but Misfits. And then Lepelos, after these two finals, right, we're gonna get to see Envy versus Misfits for sure, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, that would be the dream, but Jax, unfortunately, we're not seeing that. I think instead they have some death match of selected players.
Lepelos, I don't care.
I don't care about that. I want to see these two teams play. I hope they do it off the mainstream. Like, I hope they have a friendly match casted by people on another stream, and somebody sets that up, because this is horrible that we don't get to see that. Very disappointed. Jax,
Logix versus Effect? Are you kidding me on Tracer?
Is there anything else coming up next week that we need to talk about before we sign off?
This is what needs to come up. Logix versus Tracer versus Effect on Tracer.
Yeah, no, that would be. You mean
Taimu trying to set down Tavik Lepelos. Come on.
I know you're disappointed, Jax, that we're ending. But...
Somebody page Nate Nanzer. I saw him on Reddit the other day. Nate Nanzer
answering questions
to the Overwatch rundown and make this happen. Okay, this needs to happen. I don't know why Blizzard keeps doing this. It happened with the World Cup. Now it's happening here again. Give us the games that people want to see.
Jax,
about viewer levels. The other thing I'm curious about, I want to see what the viewership is like for this tournament, because viewership for Overwatch has not been that great.
As I've pointed out, Jax, they've been lower than the Rocket League in PUBG.
Getting more Lepelos.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
been advertising this. Like I may not have played Overwatch in a while, so I may not have started the Blizzard launcher recently, but have they at least been advertising this a lot on the launcher? Like, I go to various gaming websites and it's like, is anyone talking about this major final that's coming up, this major LAN? Oh wait, yeah, look, I start the launcher. There it is, right there. First thing I see, playoffs. Pew, right there, beautiful. Okay, they're trying. They're trying, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be as big as what's going on in some of these other games right now, and
Look,
it's a
so they break
disappointment.
50,000. 50,000 for a major tournament final. That's not even a lot.
Are we taking bets on that now, Jack? Some
I'm
predictions on
asking
that?
you, do you think they break
No.
50K?
Right now, no. I mean, you look at what the contenders have been bringing in, and even if you doubled that, that's still not 50K, right? Like they've been bringing in about 14K on the weekends. Maybe
You're not even gonna give them 30K for a major
I'm
tournament.
I'm gonna say that they will probably break 25K, but I don't know if they're gonna break
Blizzard
that.
Actually, when these start being streamed, if Blizzard actually has a link where you just click and boom, it takes you right to the stream,
Yeah.
they'll get up to 50. If people have to traverse multiple links or if it's not direct, they won't make it.
Yeah, I agree with you. They need to integrate this better than they have.
See, look, viewer in chat here, Lepelos, on twitch.tv/Lepelos, for those who are wondering, every Tuesday night around 9:00 p.m. Pacific. The WoW World of Warcraft Mythic Dungeon Invitational had 50,000 viewers.
Yeah, I mean,
Lepelos, come on.
You
mean to tell me Mythic Dungeon Invitational can get 50K, but Contenders can't get 50?
It really depends. I mean, I honestly don't know, but I'm telling you, the numbers I've seen have always been hovering around 15K, I think, if I'm not mistaken, on live. So that's during regular season. I mean, it is playoffs, so maybe it will be higher. But like, how much higher is it going to be? Like, 3 times higher would be over 50K. That'd be like 65K. I don't know if it's going to get 3 times over. Like, asking from regular season to finals, like how many people are paying that much attention to it? It's concerning, though. It's concerning on so many different levels. We've talked about this at length, though, Jax, about all this concern about the growth of the esport. And unlike the WoW Mythic Dungeon Invitational, unlike PUBG, they're really trying to force it into an esport for attention. You know, they've created an Overwatch League, so they've already said that this Contenders is not that most important thing yet. You know, you have to wait for that. They've destroyed the regular programming that they've had in the West, with the Overwatch monthly mailies being gone now for, what, half a year?
Yeah.
So that's all gone. So, you know, is it a surprise that the viewership is down? To me, no, it's not.
Well,
so
to
we'll
wrap
see
it up,
if they can bring it
right
back.
quick, I forgot to do this earlier. Lunatic High, GC Busan, who's going to win?
I think Lunatic High brings us back. I think we talked about this last week a little bit, but I think Lunatic High is going to bring it back.
All right, and is your mic okay? You keep changing.
Yeah, sorry, I was just moving my
all right, and from there, levels we have that puts us with Lunatic High versus Cloud9 Kongdu. Who's gonna
win? In terms of the first series in that.
Yeah, because since this will most likely happen before we air next week, so just give a quick prediction: Cloud9 Kongdu versus Lunatic High.
I'm gonna say Cloud9 Kongdu. They've had, some up. They've got a longer time to study, and they'll have more footage to review. More recent.
I have to go with C9 Kongdu as well. Lunatic High, this Lee Tae-jun experiment has not worked, and while I don't think they're gonna run Lee Tae-jun, they have wasted so much time and preparation on this. And please don't let him come out against GC Busan Lepelos. I will lose. Actually, I think we did do this because I said Lunatic High will win if they don't run Lee Tae-jun.
Yeah, probably.
I had that qualifier, that little asterisk. So that sets up. Yeah, Cloud9 Kongdu is given like Envy has given us no reason to doubt them. Whereas Lunatic High has had a major drop off from season 3 finals, Cloud9 Kongdu has been pushing it on the entire time. From there, I don't see a date. Actually, yes, I do. We need to do. I guess we have to do OPC playoffs. I mean, we already know who's gonna win, but
I don't think we need to go too much more into depth there. I think we all know Ardian's gonna walk through to the finals there.
So we've
to
got
face
Ardian,
Flash Wolves there.
Ardian versus Blank in one semifinal. We both take Ardian. Flash Wolves versus Hong Kong Attitude. Again, Flash Wolves not as dominant as they were. Hong Kong Attitude has a chance, but I'm still taking Flash Wolves.
Flash Wolves will probably drop a King of the Hill map, at least one.
that could probably go 3-2.
Yeah.
Wait, they don't have that stupid format, do they?
I don't think
Where
so.
they play like 8 games. You know, we had that.
Like
We had
it's
3
series
best of
of
sevens.
best
Yeah.
of yeah. I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe for the finals they'll do that. We'll check back with you guys when we're doing that. But Jax, I think that should end us off for this week. So yeah, is there any final things that you want to say? I mean, everyone, of course, always follow us on Twitter. I'm at Leplos. He's at Jax_Blake. We're at OW Rundown. Send me all the positive tweets. Send Jax, all the things that we need to improve.
Listen, Leplos, you're hijacking my part of the segment, but yeah, that's fine. I take negative criticism very well, especially if it helps me improve. To become a better caster here, because I've got to stay the top of my game for when the Overwatch League comes out. Lepelos, we're going to be very busy.
Yeah, all the calls we'll be taking from everybody. The shout outs that we've been getting. Actually, speaking of which, thank you, people that have shouted us out. It really is appreciated. There was a recent Reddit thread talking about that, and we did notice that, so thank you about that. And Jax, I mean, yeah, if we do get any feedback, we'll listen to you guys and work on our show as always. And if you're sticking with us this long, we really do appreciate it. So
made it a year, going on into the second year. We'll see. But wait, why did that stop? Okay. I think that's it, Lepelos.
I do
56 too. Complete. Yes.
Yeah, I think we're done. I'm gonna roll the music, Jax, so that we can fade away into.
Like LGD Gaming.
Like LGD Gaming. All right.
Okay.